Ryan here at 3TR channel, and I'm here to give you my official review of the final third installment in the Edgar Wright's comedy series, simply titled At the World's End, which once again brings in the absolutely great dual comedy pair of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. And this time, rather, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg's characters are part of this group of friends which 20 years ago tried to accomplish this goal of going over this golden mile in this little small town. And basically what the objective was to go to these 12 pubs, have a single drink, and just make it the whole way without passing out. Unfortunately, they failed, so after 20 years they are coming back together to try it again. But as they come back to their own small little town, they find out that something isn't quite right, and they quickly realize that it has been overtaken by robots, or aliens, or maybe it's a mixture of the two. I got confused. But it doesn't matter. And they basically want to try to get through this entire journey of trying to get to these 12 pubs without being brutally murdered and massacred or mutated in very terrible ways. Anyway, as you can tell, I absolutely enjoyed this movie. I absolutely love the first two movies, which is Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. And I'm actually quite glad to say that there were actually a couple of elements from those two films actually thrown into this film actually quite flawlessly, which was something I wasn't expecting. Now, what really makes At the World's End stand apart from the first two movies is that there's a certain level of realism. And what I mean by realism, I mean realistic characters. You could simply tell that Simon Pegg's character and Nick Frost's character, really for the first time in these three series of movies, actually kind of switch roles. Usually it's Simon Pegg's character, which is the guy with the common sense and the smart one, and Nick Frost kind of plays, well, maybe not the bumbling idiot, but kind of the sidekick character. So it was really quite interesting to actually see them switch roles, and they actually could pull it off quite flawlessly, by the way, I might say. Another thing I'd really like to say is that the action scenes with the whole fighting choreographed was actually filmed quite well. Luckily, there was no shaky cam, or at least I didn't particularly notice any that was quite bothering, which is something I've really hated in a lot of movies that try to do action like this. So it was really great to see that type of filmmaking done in this film. Another great thing I'd like to say is that the CG work on the robots slash aliens, I don't know what the hell to call them, was actually pretty high quality. I mean, I would have expected that from a comedy like this, they would have gone with something a bit more wacky, but it's definitely A-class work. Whoever did this certainly had the right money and the right idea of how to use CGI the right way to bring to a maximum effect. And finally, one element that really makes this stand apart from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz is the level of real personal emotion. I mean, especially there's something with the group of friends that they have against Simon Pegg's character. I mean, things that he's done that they didn't like, and they really hold it against him. And you could tell that this guy is really in pain. I mean, he kind of has not had as much success as his four friends, and he kind of is just stuck in the past. And he acknowledges it in the movie. So the fact that these characters grow throughout this experience, even under these absolutely terrible circumstances, is something that, you know, realistic people would do in this type of scenario, as crazy as it is. Now, it's not to say that this movie is perfect. There were two main flaws I could say really did hold the movie back from being a truly amazing comedy, and probably one of the best, probably the single best comedy I've seen this year. And that is that the group of friends I felt was not quite as developed as it could have been. Reason being is there's 5 of them, and they really do focus mainly on the main two, which is Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. The other 3 are just kind of there. I mean, yeah, they do have their moment to shine, but for the most part, you don't really get to know too much about them. They're just kind of there to take up space. And another problem I had was something that happened in the ending. Now, I know that this movie is certainly going for a much more sci-fi feel, but there's something that happens near the ending which kind of escalates it to a level where you're kind of wondering why was that added, or why did the movie go in that direction. I mean, it had this really nice steady tone with its sci-fi element, and it just sort of jumped to a whole different level, and it felt like it belonged in a different movie. But outside of that, this is a very enjoyable movie. I absolutely would suggest you see this. I would even say see it twice, and be sure you bring friends, which is why I'm absolutely happy to give At the World's End a solid B+. If you like this movie review, please feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check me in my future movie, video game reviews, and topic videos. And like always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.